First things first, when I think about the problem that we solve for business owners, the problem is that most business owners can't step away from their business for more than a day or two than without it crashing in a heap. So that's the problem that we solve. And to do that, we've developed a system which helps to identify, extract, and organize best practice. So that's the system really that we've developed, which is how do we get best practice out of the heads of the key team members, whether it's the business owner or anyone else, get it centrally stored so that the business owner can step away for more than a day or two because it becomes easier for someone else to be able to step in. Tasks can be delegated, responsibilities can be passed. That right there is our sweet spot and where we focus and what Systemology is all about. Now, why we're the best solution out on the marketplace for that is because this is actually, you know, a really big problem to solve, and it takes multiple things to solve it. And some people are only focusing on a little chunk of it, whereas Systemology is an ecosystem. So not only is it the philosophy of Systemology, the 7 stages that you go through, what is the process of doing this, but then there's the training for your staff, then there's templates, then there's additional support, then there's software, and then working with things like our certified systemologists and a bunch of things like that. So it's where some people might just focus on just what's above the surface. Maybe they might be a competitor for our System Hub software, but software on its own is not going to solve the problem. There's a lot more here. It's building a culture. It's having the right training. It's the way that you structure everything. It's the way that you build systems thinking into your recruitment and your onboarding. And we provide a much more holistic approach and bigger thinking to that. So that's one thing that makes us the best solution for solving only this specific problem. The other thing is the way that Systemology is approaching this idea of business systems, because there have been methodologies that come before, and I can't remember if I touched on this last time, but there are Six Sigma, Lean, and a bunch of other methodologies which are around process improvement. But all of those methodologies, as the name I just said it's process improvement, which pre-assumes you have a process to improve. Whereas Systemology is the step just before that, which is you haven't yet properly identified or captured what your system is. So Systemology is what is current best practice. Let's get that. Let's get everybody up to that standard. That becomes the baseline from which we work. So Lean and Six Sigma aren't competition. They just come further down the chain. Once you've got a system and a process, maybe Six Sigma works better once that initial building of systems culture is in place. Once you've got some systems in place and metrics and measurements, then it becomes infinitely easier to do things like Six Sigma, because a lot of it has to do with optimizing process and removing of waste and making systems more efficient. But again, if you don't yet know what that system is, you can't, and you don't have a baseline and you're not measuring, you can't really apply those methodologies. So that's a bit of a difference. The last 1 or 2 points, and then I'm going to jump over to the iPad for the customer journey, is also just thinking a little bit about features and benefits. And we've all heard features and benefits before. The idea of a feature is a real specific thing about the product or the service, whereas the benefit is what is the benefit of that feature? So when you looked through the overview document of all of the different products and services, there's a mix of features and benefits in there, but features would be things like there's 30 lessons or more in the team accelerator, or there's 70 swipe and deploy templates, there's access to System Hub, or you get 12 one-on-one calls. They're all just the things. They're the features of the product or the service that you're purchasing. The benefit, and this is where we need to get really good, and what we try and do in our marketing, but in sales need to do it as well, is think about the benefit really comes back to how is it helping the business owner achieve that big problem that I talked about. So the big problem is they can't step away for more than a day or two. So each time we think of the feature, we need to think about what is the benefit is it gets them one step closer to solving that problem, or one step closer to what we call complete business reliability. So 30 lessons in the team accelerator is you get to train your team. It's training that you can train your existing team and all new team members that go through that training, make sure they get up to speed. Rather than you get System Hub for 12 months, it's System Hub is a place to store and organize those systems once and for all. So you have all of your knowledge centrally organized so it's not scattered everywhere. The 12 one-on-one calls you might have with a systemologist is about the one-on-one support that you need to keep you accountable and to make sure you get it done. So where we can, you just want to try and just keep that stuff mulling over. Like you have to learn the features, but then you also need to understand how to translate that into the benefit. And really the easiest way to do that is thinking about what are the benefits that help to solve the ultimate problem that we're trying to solve for business owners.